This is just as entertaining. All right, let's go. So, other than the mayor, we have some commissioners, deputy commissioners, and those who speak on behalf of the commissioners or deputy commissioners. So, they're all here ready to hear the questions that you guys have and share the insights from their own departments, and even take some notes and like change some things or like add on to some things. So, yeah. Tonight, we will be covering topics that matter to us: mental health, public safety, education, jobs, community engagement, and how we can actively shape the future of our city. So before we begin, a quick rule for like anyone asking a question. So when you step up to the mic, can you please introduce yourself by your name, your age, what school or community you represent? Because we want to know who's speaking, we want to get to know you. Thank you. Sorry. So here are some guidelines to keep our conversation respectful and productive. Everybody, please be concise, make your point, and stick to our time limit of 3 minutes, so as many people can speak. Timekeeper, three. You go 3, 2, 1 with your signs. Two, please respect others. Let other people speak. Listen when they do, and no microphone hogging. Also, if somebody is on the microphone, please do not boo anybody because it's really not respectful. We're gonna try and stay on schedule because we have a lot of voices, so we're gonna try keep things moving along. So if anyone is asked, please try and bring any solutions. If you're asking about a problem, be ready to share or brainstorm ideas to fix said issue. And one more thing. So tonight we will be raffling off a Nintendo Switch. And these are the rules for it. So it's one entry per person and for every comment that you make. So you can get, if one person can get to 2 entries. So if you speak once, ask a question once, you get 1 entry. If you speak again, you get 2 entries. And even if you don't have like a little question slip, then you can definitely like ask a question either way. Just make sure that whoever's the winner at the end is present, please, because like misfortunes happen. All right. Up next, we'd like to invite Mayor Sean Patterson Howard, along with our commissioners and deputy commissioners, to briefly introduce themselves, share who they are, what department they lead or support, and one thing they hope to hear or work on tonight. All right.
So we're going to talk less and listen more. So I'm going to do this quickly, right? Because if everyone up here talks for 30 seconds to introduce themselves, it'll take us a bit, right? So we have Brian Johnson, Corporation Counsel. He is our chief attorney. You could just stand or wave. Hold on. I'm gonna do another thing. So I'm gonna say their name, and when I say their name, you give one clap. Everyone gets equal clap. Everyone gets one clap. So when I say their name, you can, and then that's it. That makes sense? Right, because all that clapping takes a lot of time too. So we're gonna test you out. We have Patrick Holder, Commissioner of the Building Department. Mike Montez, Director of Office of Emergency Management. You got to wait and hear who they are. So you got to wait until I say their title. Office of Emergency Management. Condell, Condell, Condell Hamilton, he is our Deputy Assistant Comptroller, the money man. We have Deputy Chief Addison of the Police Department. We have Deputy Commissioner Molina of Planning. We have Commissioner Juan Perez of Management Services. That's technology. We have Deputy Clerk. Why am I forgetting your last name right now? Huh? Riolano, Deputy Clerk. We have Deputy Commissioner, I'm forgetting everybody's name right now. Asbury. And if I say DC, that just stands for Deputy Commissioner, because that's why I'm forgetting everybody's name, because I'll never call you by your whole thing. We have Tajine Turner, she's Director of Office of Neighborhood Safety. We have DC Mamak, she's the Deputy Building Commissioner. We have DC of Human Services, Human Resources, Lysandra Parker. We have Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Commissioner Walker Pinckney. We have Deputy Chief of Staff for the city, Kendra David. It's not a department, she's my deputy chief. We have Executive Director of the Youth Bureau, Debbie Burrell Butler. Don't y'all like that one clap? We have Deputy Commissioner of Parks and Recreation. We're not even gonna give him a name, but his name is Andre Early today. We have City Clerk Nicole Bonilla. We have our Fire Lieutenant Gallagher. We have 3 of our fire officers, and I don't know all of their last names, but they're here. And we're going to start with fire questions, because if you have a question for the fire department, we're going to start with them, because I know they have to go and get back on their trucks. Am I missing? And then we have other Youth Bureau staff. Y'all know the Youth Bureau staff? Y'all want to stand and introduce yourself? Okay. Did I miss anyone? Okay, I don't think I missed anyone. And so I'm Shawn Patterson Howard, Mayor of the City of Mount Vernon. And we really want to hear what your questions are. And also, because oftentimes a lot of people have the same issue. If someone comes up here and they have the same issue as you, I'm going to ask who else has the same issue, so you could raise your hand. Because we don't need 10 people to say, I have an issue with a pothole, right? Because, you might have a pothole on this block, a pothole on that block, so we because I want to make sure that we're having deep conversation. And if you also come up and you have suggestions, then we also want to hear your suggestions as well. Does that make sense? Right? Because we're looking for solving problem, huh? Okay. All righty. Also, we have Deputy Commissioner. Are you coming up this way? Pam Tarlow, come from the back. You coming up? Yes. Thank you. If you're going to be here, might as well. Tim Allen is the Director of Communications. Okay, there we go. So who's going to be our first question, our first speaker? Come on up. Hold on. And also I asked, no, you come up right here. Right here. And also, does anybody have a question for fire? Because if no one has questions for the fire department, then we're going to let them go. Any fire, fire going once. Come up. You have a question for fire? There's questions for Okay, yeah. Press the button to make sure it's on, a red light.
Okay, for the fire department? Okay, good afternoon. I'm Jalissa Miller from Denzel Washington School of the Arts. My main question is just how is the youth, how is the fire department helping with the youth beyond just like fire drills and just like the usual drills that we have at our schools?
All right, can everybody hear me? All right, I'm Firefighter Samuel. So in the summertime, sometimes the kids come by the station and we fill their bikes up. We are somewhat mentors to kids that they come by. If you come to talk to us, we could talk to you. We're not like strangers. We work for the city, we work for all of you guys. So if you want to come talk to us, we can talk, we can be an ear for y'all, talk about the job. We visit schools. It is October, and this is Fire Prevention Month. So I would hope that some of my colleagues came by the school we'll come by the school to talk to you guys about fire and making sure everything's safe inside your homes. Prevention and tactics on how to get out of situations. We're really just here for safety, so any dangerous situation you guys have, we are here to help as well, like the police.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kalia Curlew. I am 17 years old, and I represent the SRAEP program. My question is for Director Montes of OEM. My question is, what is your plan to make sure that young people know what to do in emergencies, especially when they have no access to phones and or a stable housing?
Can you repeat it again, please?
That is a real good question. One of the things that I'm doing is working with the school district administration on various preparedness trainings that we're going to be working with our youth on. And then you mentioned something about how you guys get informed of different emergencies or anything like that. We have a program that's going to be being rolled out starting sometime in November. It's called the Everbridge Public Mass Notification System, which we're looking to have the majority of our school district youth enrolled in that program using their cell devices, and also having the rest of the residents of Mount Vernon doing that. Through there, you'll be able to get a lot of information on some of the preparedness trainings that we'll be doing in the community, and also of different emergencies that are happening throughout the city to make you more situational aware and make you prepared in the event of an emergency.
Thank you.
Yep.
And did you ask the question if they don't have a phone? You did ask that, right? So there, I always see young people with phones, but then one of my staff told me the other day, yeah, but they don't have service. They just have Wi-Fi, a lot of them. And so that's something that because not everybody's phone service is on. So we would have to figure out how to do a notification. And if there is ways to do notification outside of a text, if there is a way to push it through WhatsApp, right? Because that is a real thing, that if you don't have service, then how do we get you an emergency text notification? Because that's how we push them out, is through text notification. We also put things on the OEM page and things of that nature. But if there was a hurricane coming in 10 minutes and we needed you to shelter in place and you don't have phone service, it's going to be hard for us to push that notification out. So y'all might want to use that as an excuse. If there's a hurricane, Ma, I know I didn't do the best in school, but I need you to turn my phone service back on or something like, but thank you. Next question. And if y'all have questions, y'all can start coming in the middle and lining up so we don't have to invite you up.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Zachary Otto, and I'm 17 years old, and I attend Mount Vernon STEAM Academy. My question is for Mayor Sean Patterson Howard. Why has youth involvement in city planning been minimal, and will you commit today to giving youth a seat at the table of every major city project moving forward?
So we have the Youth Advisory Council. We also just did a 3-year project around planning for the city for the next 10 years.
Yes.
And the young people were at the table. They were even paid, and there were others that volunteered. So we're always asking for young people to show up, but they got to show up.
Right.
I can invite you, but I can't make you come. And so the last 35 years of my life have been committed to engaging youth in leadership. So I'm committed to that, but then y'all got to show up. So I'm committed. My question is, are y'all committed?
Right.
So I'm gonna put it back on you.
Mm.
So there are opportunities to be on youth leadership committees, to work with and come in and have conversations with our commissioners. But we also want you not to kind of just show up in the problem, but we want you to show up for the solution and with the questions and the ideas. So I'm committed. I'm absolutely committed. And that's why we have the Youth Bureau, because they are the vehicle that makes sure that our young people are included. And I know when we do our hiring, we place people in departments based on their interests, and they're doing the work of the city. So it's really kind of an open door. I want y'all to be involved. Absolutely. I'm committed to that.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, Miss Sade. Don't come up here like you shy.
I'm
Don't
Madam
talk.
Mayor.
Sade was our mayor for a day after the last town hall because she brought the questions and brought the heat. So Sade, when you were mayor for the day, you were picked up?
No, I actually came to City Hall, but I was dropped off.
You were dropped off.
Yeah.
And did you meet with commissioners?
Yeah.
And you sat in meetings with me? So whatever I did that day, you know, the only thing she couldn't sit in a meeting with is if I was disciplining an employee, because that's private. But other than that, every meeting I had, she did, and she went to fire and police and sat down with them. They gave her tours. She asked them questions. So we go on, ma'am.
So my question is mostly directed to DPW. What plans do you have for garbage control? Because I live near Fulton Avenue, and there was once a garbage can at the corner of Fulton and 4th Street, but it was removed, and now the trash is everywhere. And I have a dog, so where am I supposed to put his poop?
Our DPW commissioner, I know, is away. So, you know, I'm gonna say some things, and some stuff might sound a little funny, but we need y'all to also let us know when you see people stealing garbage cans, because that's what happens a lot, right? We put out garbage cans and we have more garbage cans to put out, but then people come and they steal the garbage can. I'm like, I don't really know why you'd want to steal a garbage can. They'll put them in the backyard. Some people will sell them for metal scraps, right? Because they're heavy and they sell them for metal. And after a while we run out of them. So we will put another one out there, but we need y'all to help us keep an eye on it. And then the other thing we need to do is, does anybody know what the garbage people do? Hold on. No. Let's be clear about what garbage people do. You raise your hand, ma'am. What do the sanitation people do? What is their job? Stand up, talk up. Thank you for raising your hand. There's no wrong answer. Pick up garbage and like put it Okay. So the sanitation crew, how many sanitation workers do you think we have in Mount Vernon? Sanitation, they're the ones who work on the garbage trucks. 15. 24. We have 24 sanitation workers, and they have like 12 or 13 routes. And so their job is to pick up the garbage that you put in the bags and to put out in front of your house and your buildings and the businesses. Then we have street sweepers. Those are those things that come along and they kind of sweep along the curb, and it picks up garbage that's picked up there. And on the south side, they do it on Monday and Tuesday, and on the north side, they do it on Wednesday and Thursday. But what our job is not is to pick up after people who throw trash on the ground. That's called litter. That's called having a respect for your city and yourself. Does anybody know what those grates are, kind of usually near the corner, that have little holes in those? Are those garbages? They're on the ground. Do y'all know what those are? Absolutely. So those, thank you for being a young person who knows what those are. So those filter out as rainwater comes down the street. The rainwater goes down those into about 100 miles of tunnels, and then that water goes out into the Bronx River and the Hutch River. Do you know a lot of people think that those are garbage cans and they throw garbage down there? People throw garbage. And when you throw garbage on the street, then the garbage oftentimes ends up going down there. And so that clogs up the rainwater from moving throughout the city. And sometimes if it goes through the wrong pipes, it will clog up the sanitary, meaning the sewer pipes. So we've found like scooters, you know, little razor scooters down, you know, lots of trash and garbage. But garbage is a hard part in the city. And so people say, well, you should have people just stand on every corner and give people tickets. We don't have enough staff. For the whole city, we have less than 1,000 employees. That means we have about 200 people working the police department, about 160 people working, well, 170 working in the fire. So it's about 250 that work in the police department, about 200 that work in the fire department, right? And then we have about another 150 people that work in DPW. But that's not just sanitation, that's fixing sewers, fixing roads, cutting trees, fixing up and repairing the park, maintaining all of the city buildings, painting them, the engineers, like all of that. So it's not a big, huge city staff. So insofar as like litter and things like that, we really need the help of y'all in the community. First, not to throw stuff on the ground. Second, when you see people, your friends throwing stuff on the ground, being like, who's supposed to clean that up? You know, you could say it plainly, you know, like in a joking way. And then when you see, you know, your parents and your family members do it, be like, that's not cute. Everything is not for the police to do. Everything shouldn't have to require a ticket. Some of it is just community pride, and that's a big challenge that we have here in the city. Okay? So, but we will replace the garbage can on Fulton Avenue and 4th Street.
Thank you.
But we hope no one steals it again. Because we can't, you can't bolt them down to the ground. If you do, then we can't pick the garbage up and throw it into the thing.
That's true.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. That's my last soapbox for the day.
Hi, my name is Isaiah Flammer. I'm 17 and I go to Mount Vernon High School. I'm a senior. My question is for the fire department. What can constituents do when communicating an emergency to the fire department?
Constituents do.
What can constituents do when they are communicating an emergency to the fire department? So if somebody's calling in a fire or a EMS call, like what information should they give?
Well, they're probably going to ask you, they're going to ask you, you know, questions. Just tell them as much information as you could possibly tell them, whatever's going on. If someone's, if they passed out or if you see a fire in a window, just tell them as much information as you can over the phone and we'll get there as soon as we can.
All right.
You know, whenever you call 911 or something like, they're going to ask you questions. So what's the address? Where are you? Is someone passed out? Are they conscious? Are flames coming out of the house? You know, so.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sarah Littlejohn. I'm 17 years old, and I go to Denzel Washington School of the Arts. And my question is for the police department. So, considering the recent shooting inside a police transport van here in Mount Vernon, what can you say to reassure young people in our city, many of whom are already concerned about the safety and trust in law enforcement? And how did the loaded gun make it past police custody in the first place?
Okay. We as a police department have an absolute duty to go and keep the citizens of Mount Vernon safe. I'm not going to lie. We are still trying to get to the extreme bottom of that. Mm-hmm. Trust and believe that I'm angry that something like that occurred. We think we've identified how it happened. We will ensure that it will not happen again. I cannot go and find an excuse. Trust me, the people at this table, some of us have had extensive conversations about this over the last few days. As long as I'm here, as long as the mayor's here, as long as this team is here, we are going to make sure that something like that does not happen again. I can't answer that right this second, but I can ensure that it's not going to happen again.
Thank you.
And he can't give details because it's still under investigation. And once the investigation is finished, we will come out publicly and be very clear what happened and what did not happen and what should have happened and what will never happen again. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes. My name is David Joseph. I'm from Mount Vernon High School. I was asking, I have a question for the police department. What plans are you putting into action to reinforce the laws behind minors smoking nicotine and marijuana in public spaces?
That one's a lot more nuanced. Nicotine is not legal to sell to people under the age of 18. However, it is not illegal to possess the way that the law is written. For marijuana, it's a lot more clear. Marijuana, you can't go and possess, and you can't go and smoke it. So we have some control over that. For nicotine, I don't have a clear answer because it's not illegal. The sale of it, yes. From time to time, we go into stores to sit there and see if they will sell alcohol to people under the age of 21 and to nicotine under the age of 18. However, that's a ticket to the store, but not to the person who goes and possesses it. So there's no real mechanism to go and sit there and deal with that. I can't give you, all right, we'll sit there and tell people to stop smoking. Because as the mayor went and said, we can't ticket ourselves out of everything, especially since there's not a ticket for me to go and write. We can have conversations about it, but at the end of the day, we're all almost adults, and we have to figure out whether or not we're going to do the right thing or not. Right?
Thank you for your time. And give me 30 seconds because I'm going to give you the non-politically correct answer. Parents got to be the daggone parents, right? My mother would have snatched my black behind up if she would have caught me doing something like that. We could arrest the kids, but I promise you, when parents come down to the police department, when we arrest their children, they're like, oh, why are you bothering my kids? Don't you have something better to do? And the kids know it. The kid, those of you in here who y'all can run your parents around, you know your parents don't have no discipline over you. And the other kids who may not be in this room, whose parents don't have any control over them, they know, and they know if they do whatever they do, they're not gonna get in trouble. So, you know, police can be the police, but police's responsibility is not to be somebody's parents, only to a certain extent. And so, you know, even if we arrest you, you're not gonna go to jail. You're not going to necessarily go into a group home. So again, a lot of this goes back to parenting. And then young people also kind of wanting, there's a time all of us experimented, right? Well, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. As a young person, I experimented. As a young person, I felt myself when I was young, like I'm grown, I know what to do, I can handle myself, right? And there were some consequences I paid for it. And there's some things, thank God, I was able to get away with that I won't go back and do again, right? But you got to make that decision for yourself. If you see your friends smoking weed, you can choose not to smoke it with them. You get to choose your friends. Your friends don't get to choose you. That's not a policing issue. That's a personal responsibility issue more than anything. Now, we can turn Mount Vernon into a police state, lock y'all down, give you a curfew, never ever allow you to move throughout the street, but it's not even 10% of young people doing negative things. It might be 5% of young people that are doing negative things. So, you know, my job is not to unleash the police to do what parents should be doing and working with you on some of the decisions you should be making. Our job is to provide you with alternative programs that can educate you, that can take you on college tours, that can expose you to employment opportunities, that can expose you to culture, arts, music, education, and academics, and make you not be so interested in doing that. There's some of your friends out there that's smoking like 10 blunts a day. That's crazy. And there's some that are smoking more. Right? But that a person has to decide what they want their future to be. And then our job is also to offer help to people who are becoming addicted or who are addicted. But it is also their responsibility to take the help. And I don't mean to sound judgmental. It's just like the government's job is not to lock y'all down and control you in those type of ways. It really is not. But you have a lot of choices to make. I'm glad y'all are here, and we're here to help y'all make the right choices in tough situations.
You're good. Oh. Hi, my name's Jamie Moore. I'm 17 and I attend Denzel Washington School of the Arts. I wanted to ask something. It's also linked to safety, but a little bit less crazy than that. But
It's crazy.
because we had an incident last year where a girl had gotten hit by a car, and then we had the principals coming out to be our
Crossing guards.
yes, crossing guards. Is there a possibility to like get crossing guards for our schools to keep it safe? Because some people aren't like they aren't exactly following the rules of the road, and they're getting into near car accidents, kids.
School crossing guards are designed more for the younger school kids, elementaries, schools for the most part. We kind of have a interesting issue that's going on with school crossing guards. People aren't that interested in becoming school crossing guards now, and we have a lot of school crossings. So when we're short on school crossing guards, we end up having to go and deploy police officers to go and cover those school crossings. Now, what ends up happening when school gets dismissed? I now have police officers who could be patrolling the entire city that are now stuck on a stationary intersection that they can't leave until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows what happens on Gramerton Avenue, on California Road every day. We can't keep taking the police officers who need to be across the entire city and put them just at the school crossings. So that's one thing. Something else that we're very aggressively going after lately is expanding our motorcycle unit, our traffic unit, and empowering them all to be everywhere. What's now happened was over the last few years, we weren't really going and checking how fast people were driving, whether or not they were running red lights. You can ask most of your parents, there's been a lot more people that are getting speeding tickets, Fulton Avenue, on Gramerton, literally in front of the Steam Academy almost every day. We're out there. Does not mean that everybody's going to sit there and follow. There's 100 miles of roads in Mount Vernon. There's 168 cops. Even if we were all standing on every corner, we'd still be missing a lot of stuff. So yes, we're out there. Yes, we're aggressively going after it. I'm not sure that adding another school crossing guard is going to be the solution, just better enforcement. On the flip side, that also means that everybody cannot walk across the middle of the block, which is what a big problem is. All right, I'm just going to cross wherever I'm going to cross, and then we kind of dare traffic to go and stop. You get stopped, you decide you want to cross the street in the middle of the street, it's not the car that's actually at fault. We actually can go and write the person who gets hit by the car the ticket for going, and that's jaywalking. But everybody goes and talks about what's jaywalking. It's when you decide not to cross an intersection. So I'm not quite sure that we can go and sit there and keep adding more school crossing guards. We don't have the people who sign up for them in the first place. All right?
Okay.
Another piece to that quickly is that we have put in, and hopefully within the next few months, we will be getting the red light cameras. And the red light cameras will be at the governor only gave us permission for 25 intersections, right? There are certain things that we can do as a city on our own, and there are certain things that we have to get permission from the state governor to do. And we asked for them to allow us to install red light cameras that we can catch people who are going through red lights. And they only gave us, for I think we have 400 intersections, they gave us 25. So for 400 and something intersections, we'll only have 25. Another thing that's been sitting on the governor's desk for 2 years now is our requests to put up speeding cameras in hidden places that are not at intersections, so that if people are speeding down the streets, and especially in school zones, that they will get a ticket in the mail, right? The state senate and the state assembly passed that, and it's been sitting on the governor's desk. We're waiting for her to sign it. And then I also spoke a week and a half ago to your new superintendent, Dr. Strickland. And because we also see a lot of people passing school buses. And you know who's often passing school buses on their way to work? Parents. Parents who are late dropping their kids off and late getting to work. They're the ones who are speeding through school zones. And then they're the ones that are saying, protect my babies. But in all the other cities where they've been doing those traffic stops, like 70% of the people who are racing in school zones are parents. So we're working with Dr. Strickland so that he can put in the request to the state also to put cameras on all of the school buses, so that when you pass a school bus with the stop sign extended, people will get an automatic ticket. Sometimes the only thing that will change people's behavior is hitting their pocket over and over and over again. And so we're trying to put into place the mechanisms that will do that, that can bring the enforcement. Because we've done the education, and now people's pockets have to hurt. But they'll say, oh, the city's just trying to make money. No, we can't make money off of you if you don't break the law. That makes sense?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Valdovinos. I am 17 years old and I attend Mount Vernon STEAM Academy. My question is for Corporation Counsel from the Law Department. What role does the Law Department play in ensuring transparency and accountability in city government decisions?
That's an excellent question. So we have what's called, New York State has enacted the Freedom of Information Law, right? Which requires a city to give any records that are requested by residents. That responsibility currently resides in the law department. Given the nature that many people are now asking and becoming aware of their rights, we were inundated with a lot of requests for information. People don't always like to independently research what's on the website. We get these things. We worked and we hired a person, and her job is 100% to respond to these requests. And so that is what our responsibility is, and that's what we do.
Thank you.
Stay there for a second. And just another thing that we do, we're trying to put more and more of our information up on the website, right? And so on the police department's website, if you have a civilian complaint, you're able to go on the website and make a complaint. In the Department of Public Works, we have a DPW dashboard where you can go in and see where they've paved streets, where they've fixed sewers, right? So there are certain things that you can just go up on the website and you can see, and then it'll tell you the next set of streets they're going to pave or whatever. Transparency. And then as the Corporation Counsel, he's always telling us what we can and can't do, what we can and can't say, to make sure that we are doing things legally. The other thing is we're part of what you call the New York Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officials, NYCOM, and they are a group of people that help governments make sure that they're following all of the ethical rules. And so for years, Mount Vernon did not send leadership to trainings and to workshops to learn the new laws, the updated rules. It's like y'all have to go to school, right? But people who work for government should continually have to go to classes to get updated on the new laws, the new rules, and things of that nature. And so that's something that we said we wanted to do here. We have to invest in our staff and make them go through continuous training so they understand what the new rules and policies and procedures are, so that we're not breaking the law, so that we're not doing things that are wrong. And they have to hand in what we call financial disclosure statements every year. We go through ethics training and things of that nature also. So it's more than just the law department. We have multiple checks and balances. The other thing that is done, hold on, and I see the 1 minute. In the city, I'm the mayor. I don't cut checks. The money is controlled by our comptroller. So you have checks and balances. The comptroller's office controls the money for the city. So I'm the executive, and my executive staff request things. We have to put in requests to the city council. The city council reviews the laws of the city. They look at the budget, and then they say, okay, you can spend this, y'all can go there, you can't go there. Then they have to sign off on it. And then it comes before another group called the Board of Estimate and Contracts, which is made up of me as the mayor, the city comptroller, and the president of the city council. And then they review yet again for like a third time before anything happens and money is spent, whether or not we can do it, if we've asked the questions, if we've gotten verification and documentation of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to spend, what we're trying to buy. And then we put into place something called a procurement policy. Before, years ago, they complained that people in the government were giving money away to friends. If you had to buy some cars, you bought it from some people you knew. Right now, we have to go through a procurement or a bidding process. We have to put out a contract request. People bid on getting the contract. Then it comes back, and there's a group of people that review it. Then it still has to go back to the council for approval and back before the Board of Estimate and Contracts. Have you ever heard that government moves slow? Government moves slow because oftentimes it has to go through 5 or 6 checkpoints before something can get done to make sure that it's not being done improperly.
I just want to go back to the Freedom of Information request. It is requests for documents only. It is not to answer questions. So if you say, you write me a letter and you say, I want a copy of a police report, you have to give as much information as you want as the police report. It is not, why didn't the police arrive when my grandmother called the cops? So you see the difference? It's for documents only, not for questions.
And hold on. Thank you. We see our Councilman Derek Thompson in the back. If you could, you can come up front if you want. Come on. Come on down. The price is right.
My name is Kia Bando. I'm 16 years old and I attend Mount Vernon STEAM Academy. My question is for Clerk Manila. Voter turnout in Mount Vernon is low, especially among young people. What is your office doing differently this year to reach first-time voters and improve participation?
Hi, thank you for the question. So Mount Vernon does not run its own elections. We are under Westchester County Board of Elections. We have hosted quite a few voter registration, partner with some sororities and fraternities. We mention it at every city council. We facilitate the forms in the office where the city will provide the postage. We put flyers up working with the communications department. We speak to our interns, we get it out. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the youth as much as the school district does. So that's where we have our lovely councilman, Derek Thompson, who also has, oh, sorry, you're supposed to sit up there, who also has a hand in the school district. So a lot of people do not know that the city of Mount Vernon and the school district, we're not together, we're not one. They're two separate entities. So I don't have access to the youth as much as as much as everybody thinks we do. Mount Vernon used to do their own elections, we don't anymore. We also rely on the Youth Bureau a lot to get that out there because the Youth Bureau has access to the youth. But as far as reaching the youth, I don't have that access, but it's always accessible. Come into the office. I do have lots of sweet treats. So if any of you want to come and register to vote, there are a plethora of sweet treats. I would love to talk to you about it. And actually, if you guys are of voting age, the last day is coming up. So after school, come by the office and get a form to fill out to register to vote. Thank you for the question.
So I'm gonna piggyback on Kurt Bonilla. So one thing that we've continuously done is we've actually gone into the schools to speak to the students and the seniors about registering to vote and the importance of having your voice heard. So I also coach football at the high school. I tell all my seniors to register. I actually make them register to vote. But unfortunately, I can't make all of you do it. I have to ask y'all to do it and suggest that y'all do it. And I need to tell your friends to register to vote as well. And I need to get as much information as you can and show up. You know, there's 100,000 residents in Mount Vernon.
But not
It's 75 on the census, only like 50 are registered and maybe 4,000. Not even, I'm sorry.
42,000
are registered.
residents are registered to vote, 35 Democrats. So less than 50% of our population here in the city is registered to vote. Y'all need to change the narrative.
And then the Youth Bureau also does the voter registration drive. They've done them out on City Hall. They show up out there on the plaza with DJs, with food, with information. And we see young people register to vote through them. But it's more important that you don't just register to vote, but that when you vote that you're educated on what the issues are and who you're voting for. So registering to vote, great. Voting, great. Understanding who you're voting for and not because just someone is popular or they got swag or, you know, people vote for people for different things, but you have to know who they are. You have to know the facts, not the fiction, but the facts of who you're voting for. And then it's important to know kind of how government works and what offices they're running for. So we really want to do more with, and that's what this program really is about, civics, because a lot of people don't understand what the different roles of people are in office and what they do. People call me all the time, you need to fix the schools. I'm like, I have nothing to do with the schools, right? I have no control over the schools. Or they'll say, well, if you don't do something, I'm calling the county executive. The county executive runs Westchester. It doesn't mean that the county is our daddy and that the governor is Big Mama, right? We're all separate level of government and we have to understand how government works. And so we are excited that you're here and that you will be learning over the next year or two about government and how it works, because it's important.
Good afternoon. My name is Ojaden June, and I'm 16, and I'm representing Mount Vernon STEAM Academy. I have two questions today. One for Chief Addison from the police department. Okay, so what training are officers in Mount Vernon getting on youth interaction, de-escalation, and cultural sensitivity? And is it working? And what metric are you using to measure effectiveness?
I'm loving you.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through pretty quickly the application process to how you see a cop out on the street. Every year, every 2 years, the city goes and puts out applications for the position of police officer. Everybody applies, has to go to civil service, they take a test. From there, we have to now filter through the applicants to make sure that they don't have something that will bar employment, be it bankruptcies, be it a felony conviction, be it a recent DWI. Entire interview process. That usually goes and weeds down the applicants that we have to about 20% of the people who went into the test. Then we have to do an entire interview process. Some people are trying to find a job as opposed to actually trying to find a career. Police work is a calling. It's not something I'm going to go and clock in at 8 o'clock in the morning and walk out at 4 o'clock. Because guess what? Somebody dials 911, I can't depend on leaving at 4 o'clock. So we end up going and hiring quite a few people every 6 months. They then sit. Yes, I completely left out the psychological exam, the physical exam. There's a vision test. There's a ton of additional testing. We finally get to the point where they raise their hand, they get sworn as police officers. Then they go up to the Westchester County Police Academy, where for 21 weeks, they are taught the state minimum standard for policing. In it, de-escalation training, cultural sensitivity, some of the things that we're going to go and interact with. There's not a lot in the way of training for youth engagement from a police perspective up at the academy. Then they graduate, they come back here, 21 weeks. Then they come back here and they are in-house doing training with, I'm sure that most of you know who Detective Clark is. All right, he has been in our training unit for a long time, has been obviously engaged with youth. He trains them for approximately another 6 to 8 weeks on things that are specific to the police department in this city, including youth engagement. Then you go through field training, which is an additional 8 to 10 weeks of you being able to interact with the community. That does not mean that your training's over. I am now almost 11 months into, since the day you got hired till you can work by yourself. You're still on probation for another 6 to 7 months. What the police department does in addition to the training that you got initially is 5 times a year, we have to go and pull people in on their days off, teach them additional things. The de-escalation training. One of them is firearms, one of them is defensive tactics, law updates. Then we send people to additional training on top of that. I know that's always a point of contention with other forms of government and how expensive it is to send people to training, but it is absolutely worth it if we end up going and getting a better educated, well-rounded, and calmer police department. What metrics are we using? We used to see in civilian complaints tons of excessive forces, false arrests, civil rights violation claims. The ones that we're now getting, I don't understand why I got the ticket. The cop was rude to me. Rudeness is subjective. Did he curse at you? No. But it felt like he had an attitude. We have to own that. We're interacting with literally 50,000 people a year. We're expecting somewhere for one every 1,000 interactions that there's going to be a complaint. So far, this year, we've had about 42,000 calls. I think we're at our 40th civilian complaint. 0 last year were excessive force. 0 last year were false arrests. So far this year, we're still at 0 for both of those. Almost all of them are complaints about rudeness or I don't understand why I got a ticket for something. So yes, absolutely. We need to go and be taught better. However, we're also starting to realize that our department's getting to be younger and younger. There are people who went through the Youth Police Academy who are now police officers. And from the Youth Police Academy, we have 2 employees that started last year that were 20 years old. Graduated from the high school at 18, they were cops at 20. So everybody that is interested in becoming a police officer, I highly encourage you to go and apply for the Youth Police Academy, which is towards the end of August each year. Obviously, you can't have it during the rest of the year because everybody's usually in school. Apply to go and become a police officer. When you hit the age of 20, the application process starts. City's website, mountvernonny.gov, and then you hit /jobs, and if the police officer test is announced there, we'll put it out there. We have social media where we're trying to go and get people actively to become a police officer. But as a society, we have to now turn around and get people interested in it again. Because for the last few years, we've been telling everybody cops are bad, cops are bad, cops are bad. And now guess what? Nobody wants to be a cop. So we've got to sit there and figure out how to go and fix that. So I know that that was a long-winded answer, but it's something that we're passionate about. Something I believe in 1,000%, some that the city believes in. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, that did.
All right, cool.
Another question? Okay.
For you actually. You know the Westchester Soccer Club? I just want to know, like, I really like the team and the fact that I really think that they're a good team, but I think they like need more support. So I want to know if there's any way that like we as like a community could be able to support the club, because I think all their players are good.
Come out to the games.
I do.
Right? We have a semi-professional soccer club in our community. They get national TV attention. And they're even giving away free tickets, right? To get people interested. They're doing free soccer clinics to get people interested. So oftentimes in Mount Vernon, we say, there's nothing here. But then when something comes, we don't always support it. So come out to the games. Even if you haven't been a soccer fan, sometimes just being at a live thing with the band, the energy, the cheering, it's exposing you to something new. So I think it's really about us supporting them so that we can get them to stay here. And just to go back to the first question you asked, I just want y'all to make sure y'all heard it. He asked what type of training. They go through the academy at Westchester at the county, like every other police department, for 22 weeks. We bring them back here another 8 weeks of class. And it's not just conversations, it's tactical, de-escalation. How can we bring a person down without hurting them, right? If they're resisting, or if they are going after, or if they're going off, if they have a mental health issue and they need to be calmed down, if they are drunk and they're being violent, how do you calm a person down? No one ever wants to see someone brought down to the ground, but you also don't want to see us stand back while someone goes and snatches up someone and hurts them, right? So there's a difference between force and excessive force. And there are times that force has to be used. Now, I'm the mayor that came in and looked at a stack of complaints of excessive force and civilian complaints, and we sent it to the DA. And then the DA sent it to the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice came in and did a 3-year study on our police department. And when they were finished, I mean, it took them forever to finish because the things that they were complaining about were old things, but they saw that all of the training that we put in place, right? We have a division called the Wellness Division that works with the mentally ill, chemically addicted, homeless, youth, veterans, seniors, domestic violence. Those are the, and reentry. So we have 8 key groups that we work with. We no longer just send the police out there by themselves To certain calls, we send social workers, mental health providers, homeless outreach people, addiction specialists, veterans outreach people with them, because police are not trained to do everything. And sometimes de-escalating a situation with a person who is mentally ill with police and a social worker works better. You asked about cultural sensitivity. They absolutely go through cultural sensitivity. And for years, they've been doing something called cultural immersion, where the police officers have to go out, walk throughout the community with a team of new recruits. They have to speak to business owners, speak to young people, speak to residents, speak to churches, get to be involved in different neighborhoods, and come back and say what they learned. Because oftentimes when police officers come to Mount Vernon, the first thing they think, Mount Vernon is violent, violent, violent. It's the wild, wild west. Everybody's a criminal. And oh my God, we got to be afraid and we got to watch our back. And after they go through the cultural immersion class, you hear the same thing over and over again. Oh my God, people here don't hate the police. People here are really nice. We knocked on people's doors and they answered. Oh, the young people have so much respect for us. It's so different than what we thought it might be. And of our police department, 75% of our police force is minority and 30% of our police officers are female. Right? So we try and make sure that our police department is representative of the community, including having female leadership. The head of the patrol division is a Black female lieutenant. The head of the detective division is a Black female lieutenant. And then we have Lieutenant Allen, and who else do we have? What's the other lieutenant? She's out right now. So we have Lieutenant Allen, Lieutenant Evans, Lieutenant McKinney, and Lieutenant Terry, 4 Black women. There is no other police department in this entire county that has a Black woman lieutenant, not one. But in Mount Vernon, and we didn't just make them that, they earned it. They earned it. And so we have a leadership at all levels of our police department that is diverse, Black, white, Spanish, younger, older, you know, officers, sergeants, lieutenants, and eventually captains. Okay, so there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I also want to lock the line. Anybody else want to ask a question? Go down. And I want to get a reminder to please stick under the 3 minutes. We are running out of time. Thank you guys.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Brown. I'm 15 years old and I go to Mount Vernon High School. And my question is for the communication department. Can youth get involved in helping the city create content or campaigns that speak to people our age?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Tim Allen, Director of Communications. So through the Youth Bureau, we have internship opportunities. But we can create, and I can commit to creating some sort of internship opportunity, even in partnership more often. But what I would highly suggest everyone in this room to do, how many of you guys follow us on social media? Let me see your hand. All right. How many of us follow us on Facebook? Instagram? All right, so here's what I want everyone to do. I'm going to put it on the screen before everyone leaves. I'm going to put a QR code up, and I want you guys to scan that QR code, and that's going to allow you all to stay connected with us on social media to hear about all of our internship opportunities throughout the summer and throughout the year. Okay? Thank you.
Are you a content creator? Oh, okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Kaylee Mack. I'm 15 years old and I attend Mount Vernon STEAM Academy. My question is for Commissioner Holder from Buildings Department. In light of recent concerns brought to City Council meetings from residents claiming unresponsiveness from the department, what measures are being implemented to enhance communication and responsiveness between the Building Department and the residents of Mount Vernon?
You are here on the right day, actually, because we just
We just launched a AI program called Readily this morning. And Readily will help address a lot of those issues. You know, if you have questions, you have complaints, you can go to Readily. It's online on our website. Tell them what it is that the complaint or whatever it is, and Readily will put you in touch with the proper, you know, procedures. You can also ask questions about, you know, your house, if you're filing any permits and things like that. What's the status? So the building department gets about 600 calls in a week. It gets about 550 people coming in a month. So we have to get all other ways. We don't have a large staff, so we have to have another way of addressing some of these concerns. And AI at this point is one of the answers that we're looking at right now. We think that's going to help a lot moving forward. Yeah?
Thank you.
I'm back. So, y'all know my name is Shadi Cameron. I'm 15. I'm with the Fall Youth Employment Program. My question is directed to recreation. What plans do you have for students who want to have certain careers like cosmetology, nursing, and accounting, stuff like that? Is there a way that you could create programs for us where we can do fun stuff after school?
Hi, Sade. So that question is actually for the Youth Employment Director, me. So question is if how can we have more opportunities in the trade, cosmetology, barbering, and those stuff. And so just like the mayor said, we're going to put it back out on the youth because we do have these opportunities. One of the biggest issues that we seem to have is having the kids come to us and enrolling in these programs. We try various different academies each year. I task my staff to increase the opportunity for us, for the youth. All our programs are free. We work really hard in securing grants, and so we could provide you these opportunities. For example, this year, we had a Solar Go-Kart Academy. We have Entrepreneur Academy. We had, help me out, staff, I'm drawing blank right now. Culinary Academy.
Climate Justice.
Yes. So we have a lot of academies. This year we had 8. Usually we will have 5 in the summer, and we're constantly increasing these. Please understand they fluctuate because it's based on the funding source that we do have. I am actually challenging everyone in this room. The fact that you're here and you're receiving this information is not for you to keep or withhold to yourself. It's for you to go back to your school and inform your peers and colleagues and let them know if they're interested in employment, trades, and everything else. And if they have a question for all my colleagues here, you are now more informed than you were when you came in this room, and for you to spread great news and hard work that we are doing. And you're more privileged than some of the other kids because they're not here and you are. And we sometimes get so recite by all the negativity, and there's amazing things taking place within our city. It's just that we do know that negativity goes and sell much faster than the positivity. And so it's a challenge for you guys to take this information. In addition to that, what I will say, all our opportunity in the youth bureaus, we listen, and that's how we come up with these opportunities. We will be having the Drone Academy coming up, and I'm very intentional when it comes to providing these opportunities, not just for college students, not just for high school. In the Youth Bureau, we service youth ages 6 to 24, and the solar panel, just so you understand, was made by middle schoolers. The drones, there will be 2 components. There will be high schoolers and middle schoolers, and we're constantly looking for more opportunities. So please don't be afraid. You have also a YEAC civic arm in your school, all 3 high school. Speak to them And if you look around, they're the one that's wearing the polo shirt. They might be a little bit scared. You can actually raise your hand. Where's my YEC group? It's a Revive program that we had, and we recently just got funded for this program. So please tap on them, and they will give you the right information as well. Hopefully I answered your question.
Thank you.
And then really quickly, the other part to that is cosmetology and nursing and all of those things. The school district offers that, right? They offer a lot of vocational education programs through the school district. And if those are things that you want to do after school, then it might be more about the city having a partnership to help the school district do that, right? Because the city can't do everything. That's why we have a school district, we have the city, we have like over 60 not-for-profit organizations, we have corporations. If everyone does a little bit, then so much more can get done, you know, but the city can't provide every single thing. And if we try to, it won't even be good, right? Because when you try and stretch a little bit of money to do too much, then nothing is successful. But we are really excited about the new leadership at the board level and the new superintendent, because historically the relationship between the school and the city was not good, right? It was not good. So we're looking forward to new partnerships with the new leadership at the school district. So whether you're in school or in the community, that we're working together to support our young people. Your whole kids, your whole young people, so we have to find a way to serve you holistically. We can't divide you between, oh, when they're in school, they're just the school districts, and when they're in the city, at home, then their responsibility is the city. We have to find a way to come together and make the services comprehensive and seamless. So.
It's me again. My question is for the police department. Do you have any intentions on cracking down on fighting? I've spoken to my mother before. She's a teacher. She has seen this firsthand, and I was wondering because it's kind of become a bit of a problem. People like fighting, like people fighting.
Play fighting, real fighting.
Real fighting.
Real fighting. So we kind of run into an interesting problem. Is a law in the penal law that's called assault. It's when you cause injury to somebody else and they're not a knowing participant in it. And then there's a different section of the same law that's called harassment, which is when I punch or shove or strike somebody else, but don't necessarily cause injury. It is usually two people that have decided that they want to fight each other that go and get stopped. When you are something called a mutual combatant, your ability to now go and arrest the guy who started it disappears. That now leaves us with something called disorderly conduct, which is if it happens in public, fighting in public can be an arrestable offense. However, New York State has now made it that we have to tell somebody that they're being disorderly, and if they stop, then you can no longer arrest them for disorderly conduct. So most of the time when we run into two people fighting, it's their mutual combatants, and then we end up documenting it. But we don't arrest people for it most of the time unless one of them is injured and then they have to go and make the reasonable opportunity to retreat. That is a law, that is a state law that we don't get to go and say, I don't think it's fair, but that's the laws that we have to enforce. It's the laws of the state of New York. So I know that's not an answer, but we have to now only do things that are legal. If we don't, and then we start locking people up, we run into the problem where the Department of Justice will be back here again.
Thank you for your time.
So if Jill and Jane want to fight, we can break it up, but we can't necessarily arrest them if both of them decide to fight. Now, if Jill just ran and cold punched Jane in the back of her head and injures her, then we get to arrest Jill if she caused injury. But if people decide to fight, we could break it up until you're being disorderly, and then if you come back together and try and fight again,
Now we're good.
then we get to arrest you.
Yes.
If you're hurting each other, right? Or,
Yes.
or if you're being disorderly and you didn't go in for game. The laws have changed a lot, right? So the laws have changed with that. The laws have changed with us not being able to move people if they want to sit on a bench, right? So I'm just surprised no one's asked us about Prospect Avenue yet. Why do y'all allow people to sit on Prospect Avenue? Because sitting on Prospect Avenue is not illegal. Because sleeping on a bench is not illegal. Being homeless is not illegal. Being mentally ill is not illegal. Being drunk in public, if you're not being disorderly, is not illegal. Like years ago, there was laws that made a lot of these things illegal. And they're not necessarily illegal anymore. It's a pain in the behind, it's annoying, it makes our community look bad, but it's not an arrestable offense, if that makes sense. They said our time is up, so our time is up in the period. It's here the rest of the question.
3-minute suffering.
Okay.
Time.
Our time is running out only because I have another meeting in here at 6 o'clock. So.
The line is locked.
The line is locked. Okay, you can make it through.
Hello, my name is Chevelle Rogers. I'm 15 years old and I attend Denzel Washington. My question is for the HR department. And how does City Hall support young employees once they're hired?
Repeat that one more time so I can make sure I'm answering you correctly.
How does City Hall support young employees once they're hired?
So I know you do go through the youth department, and then once that happens, there are positions that let me make sure I say it right. There are positions that may be open. We have one of the youth who is our admin, Jordan. She came from the youth department. So when there are open positions and you maybe have worked in that department, there may be an opportunity for you to come back and continue to work in that department. A lot of it comes from the youth, a lot of it comes from outside. Did I answer that correctly?
I also want to add to that. And so during the youth employment summer and after school, youth have the opportunity to, based on the interview and the vetting process with my directors, they share what's their interest. And sometimes you don't know, and based on the intake process, we kind of steer you in the right direction. So as DC Parker mentioned, we place every department pretty much in this building, take a youth. They are pretty much challenged to do so, and to show them the way and expose you to their jobs and what it takes to be whatever is it that they're doing, right, in each department. For example, in the buildings department, he have hired consistently almost each year at least one of our youth. And I want to say at this point in the buildings department, in the partnership that we had for many, many years, we have about 6 of our youth that are now young adults in that department. We have 2 recently that since last year is in the police department. Each year that's graduating in the fire academy, we have at least 1 or 2. This recent year, we have 2 of our youth from the Youth Bureau in the police academy. And so going back to what DC Parker said, you're placed in these positions for you to be putting your best foot forward, and we expose you to this for you to take the opportunity and take it to the next level. And if you do well, the opportunity is there for you to take it and run with it. And we have a lot of our youth here that's employed in the city. Matter of fact, DC clerk was one of our youth bureau, and he came back in the clerk's office. And so the opportunity is always there. You just have to want to take it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Dwyer. I'm 17 and I attend Mount Vernon STEAM Academy. So my question is for Mayor Sean Patterson Howard. Earlier this year on Instagram, you announced the construction of a trampoline park in Mount Vernon. Would that be correct? So my question is, what is the timeline of the development on that project, and what other projects are being built similar to that, like recreational activities?
Okay, so it's a company called Fun City. They are taking over the former Bed Bath & Beyond space that is on top of the Target parking lot. You know where Target is, across from Memorial Field? On top of that parking lot is the old Bed Bath & Beyond. And so they're taking over that space. It's about 60,000 square feet, I believe. And so that's a private entity that's happening. Some of the other things that are happening in Mount Vernon, and we're always trying to recruit, so we don't get to say what is put in properties because it's the people's property, like whoever owns the property. So we work with them and try and find good tenants and recruit businesses to Mount Vernon. We did receive a $2.7 million grant, so we will be doing upgrades to the Dole Center. We did get a $5 million grant. We're waiting to hear about $15 million more, so that we can reopen the Armory, which is up the hill from Hartley Park. Yeah, usually like, I don't even know where that is, right? But it's a building that's like 100 years old that has space in it for a basketball court and classes and weight rooms and things like that. We are working with a private donor who is looking to build an addition onto the Dole Center on that same property, but there's a big space that's available that will have basketball courts, weight rooms, dance classes, computer labs. Over on McQuestion Parkway, down near the train station, but further down McQuestion Parkway, an apartment building is being built. And in the bottom of that apartment building on the first floor, about 11,000 square foot facility is going to be built, which will be the new home of the Youth Bureau. And there'll be a basketball court there, a commercial kitchen, classrooms for classes and activities and exercises. And then over here on First Street near Second Avenue, you know where the PCSB Bank is? It says PCSB, y'all know where that is? First Street, Second Avenue. The Boys and Girls Club is going to build a brand new state-of-the-art 3-story, 42,000 square feet Boys and Girls Club there. So those are some of the things that are being done. And then we have about a $3 million project that we'll be doing at 4th Street Playground. We have put in an $8 million application to redesign and redo Brush Park and make it really upgraded and new. And those are some of the facilities that we're working on. Some of them will take up to 2 years, but in the next 2 to 3 years, we should have a lot more youth recreational facilities. And then we're also we're putting in money to renovate a lot of the parks, because a lot of our parks haven't gotten love in 10, 20 years. And, you know, they kind of look like crack spots instead of places where you want kids to play. And so we're trying to redo those doors. It all takes money, and we're out there trying to get money because unfortunately our residents and the tax dollars that we receive are just not enough. Okay, so thank you.
Hi, my name is Siobhan, and my question to you is, what accountability exists for city departments that go over budget and contribute to Mount Vernon's growing debt, and how are you addressing it?
Said what accountability is there for departments that go over budget?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we put a freeze on spending. There you go. Here's the money guy.
So, we've instituted a freeze on spending for non-essential items in the city. But what we do is if you're over budget, you're not able to spend from that line. So if you go over your budget in July, that department is not able to purchase anything for the rest of the year, for the rest of our fiscal year in that line. So now, there's different budget lines for different items. There's lines for office supplies, lines for equipment, lines for travel. So if you go over your travel line, your traveling is done for the rest of the year. If you go over your equipment line, you could no longer purchase any equipment that your department may need. And so we do put the accountability on the commissioners, and from the Office of the Comptroller, we do hold them to that responsibility. They are accountable for it, and we will not process any payments on lines that are over budget.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nicholas. I attend Mount Vernon High School, and I have a question for Mayor Sean Patterson. What would you say to a young person trying to follow in your footsteps of becoming mayor of Mount Vernon?
Pray, and then pray again. So this was never a position that I ever wanted in my life. I hate politics. I hate everything about politics. I love serving my community, and that's something I've done since I was a patrol in elementary school, right? But if this is something that you're interested in doing, the first thing I would really encourage, no, not just you, but young people, if someone is interested in becoming mayor or elected to any type of office, it's really important that you understand the structure of government, the role of each of the different government positions. So what does a council person do? What does a mayor do? What does the comptroller do? What do different departments do? What are their responsibilities? If you want to be a library trustee, a school board trustee, what do they do? What do they have authority and oversight over? You have to do a lot of volunteering in the community to get to know people and build relationships. You should come to city council meetings, school board meetings, library trustee meetings, so you could see what the business is and how it gets done. When I decided to run for mayor, I had to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars because every mailing costs $14,000. So I had to call people and beg them on the phone and ask them if they would give me money and promise them nothing, right? And that's the thing. That's what gets people in trouble when they raise money to run for office, to pay for their mailings, to pay for their signs, to pay for their posters. And people say, well, if I give you this $1,500, what am I going to get? Nothing. You're going to get a smile and a thank you very much. You're not getting a job. Your kid's not getting a job, right? Because that's where you get into trouble. And so if you want to run for any public office, you have to know who you are. You have to have boundaries that you will not cross. You have to have integrity. And most of all, you have to be willing to lose a lot of friends and associates. Because I can tell you 90% of the people who don't like how I rock don't like how I rock, not because of something I did to them, but because of something I would not do for them, right? So some of the people who I went to high school with, who was chilling in the courtyard, drinking a 40, hanging on the block, is now like, yo, you gonna give me a job in DPW? I've been knowing you since we was at high school. No, I'm not. That's not my job. DPW hires you. I only hire the people that you see kind of right next to me. They're the commissioners. But if you want to work in DPW, if you want to work as, a secretary, I'm not hiring you. The commissioners hire you. And so going into leadership in public service is not an easy thing. You have to know who you are, and you have to be willing to make hard decisions. You have to be willing to go to school and get the education, and you have to be willing to get up early, stay up late, and be on your grind. I work 7 days a week. Saturday, my first event started at 9 a.m. My last event finished at 10 p.m. on Saturday, my day off. There is no day off, right? So I'm not trying to discourage people from running for office. We want good people to run for office. We want people who are willing to work hard to run for office. But you have to know that it's more than getting into my black SUV with my detective driving me and going and getting awards. It's a lot of hard work. And as long as you're willing to put the hard work in and you know how to tell people no, even if they're going to hate you for it, then it might be something you could be interested in.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, and you have to be real ready for people to talk trash and drag you on social media and lie on you. I had a lawsuit earlier this year. It was on the front, it was like all over the news when it happened. But when I won the lawsuit and all of the fake charges were dropped, that never made the news, right? And so people drag me on social media. People talk trash at their kitchen tables about me. People call me a bitch, and then they see me the next day and they be like, "Hi, Madam Mayor," and I'd be like, "Yeah, how you doing?" Right? So you got to be ready for people to lie on you and drag you. You got to have thick skin. But I don't care how thick your skin is, you're still human and it's still going to hurt, especially when people know who you are, but because you don't give them what they want, because you can't, because I'm not king and I'm not queen, I'm just the mayor, and I ain't going to jail for nobody. I look good in orange, but not every day.
We do have 6 minutes left, so just so y'all can just finish your questions, can you guys please keep your answers under a minute and a half?
Okay.
I don't want to start by, but you guys.
Or we'll just write the questions down and maybe get some of the answers back. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Agana Stanley, and I attend Denzel Washington School of the Arts. My question is for the Executive Director, Beryl Butler from the Mount Vernon Youth Bureau. How does the Youth Bureau respond when families or young people report that programs are ineffective or inaccessible? Can you give examples of changes made based on such feedbacks?
So I'm clear, your question is how do I approach families and youth if the programs are inaccessible? Okay, so that's a two-part question. The programs are not inaccessible. One of my biggest issue I have is parents saying there's nothing in Mount Vernon for our kids when there are a lot in Mount Vernon. I constantly work with my colleagues, one being the recreation. There's a lot of things in Mount Vernon for youth and young adults. The problem is parents and some of you youth in here would rather go on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all these social media versus going to Google and Google what is there for youth. And I've done that myself, and Youth Bureau was one of the things that pop up. We just says what's there for youth, and we pop up. And so it's an issue. It's very frustrating when we are here again writing a lot of grants and trying to ask the question of youth, what is it that you want to see and what you want to have? And everything that we provide, there is a stipend or a paycheck aligned with it, because we do understand that youth has responsibilities, not just the fresh sneakers that you want to buy, but we do understand food insecurity, clothes insecurity, income insecurities, and kids, you guys have a lot to do and have a lot of responsibilities, and so we take that in consideration. But you also have to take the responsibility to share with your peers. My staff knows that we're not trying to employ the same kids over and over and over. There's over 9,000 kids here within the age limit that we hire. And so when we do 3 times per year, which is more than Yonkers, New Rochelle, and White Plains, I would say we're doing a lot with a lot less than other communities. And so I challenge the youth again, rather than just going on TikTok, watch videos and go on Facebook to do likes. Take a minute or two and tell your parents to come to the city hall, the youth bureau, these events, and they will know what are some of the things out there that's for their youth. And so they're accessible. They're only inaccessible if you don't go out there and search.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Shauna Logan.
Hold the mic so we can hear you. Like, yeah, there you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Shauna Logan. I am 15 years old and I attend Mount Vernon High School. My question is, given that the state has threatened to take over Mount Vernon Building Department due to ongoing safety violation and mismanagement, what actions are being taken to address these issues, and how would the department ensure fully transparency and accountability moving forward?
So I'll answer that question. Actually, I invited the state in to do a review of the building department because there was a report done in 2018 saying that our building department was the second worst in the state. The worst in the state took over. And so when I called them in, I asked them to do a deep dive audit. They did an audit and they realized that the city had not updated our building codes and our fire codes for 30 years. We hadn't done the inspections that we're supposed to do of houses, apartment buildings, churches, and places where people gather and schools for 20 years. I asked for the technical assistance to help us to get to the right place. They gave us things that we had to pass. We passed all of them and we've been doing them. And so we're no longer in any threat of being taken over. But like, that's not the thing that you would see in the newspaper because it's sexy to say what we're not doing. But when we correct it, no one wants to talk about that because people look for scandal more than not. So the state is not threatening to take over the building department anymore. Everything that they told us we needed to correct, which we asked them, we invited them in and asked them to show us what we weren't doing. And we've been able to fix those things. Now we're doing other things just to make sure we're able to process paperwork and get permits out faster. But we're in full compliance with the state of New York now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Zach Ricardo. I attend Mount Vernon State Academy. I have a question again for you.
Yes.
Mayor Sean Patterson Howard, excuse me. You said a little bit earlier, I heard you say something about youth pridefulness and being prideful in your city and your town. But personally, my conversations and communications with you, there's not really a pridefulness, or there is a displeasure in the city.
There's what?
Like some youth just don't have that pridefulness or have a negative like connotation towards the city, just like in a generality. So my question is like, what's being done? Like what's being pushed to kind of reaffirm the youth to be powerful, to wear the maroon and gold, and actually like want to wear Mount Vernon as the city that they attend and live in?
Look, I can tell you, we are in the schools. I go to the churches. We go into the neighborhoods. We go into the parks. We talk to young people. We provide opportunities. We provide events. We get a lot of complaints about how many things why are y'all always having an event? Why are you having pumpkin stuff? We have financial problems. We don't need you spending money on young people. We don't need you spending money on recreation. So we get a lot of argument for that. Look, I'm going to put it back on you. I need y'all to get together, 20 of your friends, colleagues, and influencers in here, and y'all come and let's set up 6 meetings, right? 1 a month or 2 a month for the next few months so that y'all can tell us what you need from us, right? Because we can keep coming to you, but if you're not responding, we can't do it. So I'm looking to you for the solutions. What is it that you need from the city to feel more confident in the city or to feel more empowered in the city? And then we can work with you on that, because we can come up with ideas, but if it's not things that resonate with you, it's not going to go far. So the only way that we can do that is with you leading and we working with you.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Makes sense, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Renelle Martin, and I'm 16 years old, and I go to Denzel Washington School of the Arts, and I'm also part of the YEAC program. So I have a question for Assistant Comptroller Condell Hamilton. Sorry. Can your office commit to releasing like financial updates for youth? So for example, the death reports, like the debt reports in formats that are easy for teenagers like myself to understand like easily. Like they could be like visuals, they could be like, like PowerPoint related and stuff like that, like simple summaries. So it could be once or twice or 3 times a year.
Absolutely. So currently we do release our quarterly financial statements on the comptroller's portion of the city website. I'll be honest, financial statements are not easy to read if you're not in finance. We do have some state requirement with how those are formatted. So some of them some of the mandated reports, we don't have much leverage with how we put that information out. But yes, I can commit to creating some decks, some PowerPoints and stuff that's more visually pleasing so that it could be easily to understand and easy to communicate what the finances of the city are, what we're spending our money on, where our money comes from, and how we fund a lot of the different programs that occur in the city.
All right, thank you. That answered my question.
Yes. Oh, and just to add on that, Renil, just to add on that, the next upcoming financial forum for the comptroller, I would love to invite your team as well as all the youth here to attend the financial state of the city and the different financial forums that we have so that you can hear the information firsthand.
So guys, I know that you're about to leave out. I want you to know we really, really appreciate y'all being here. Trust me, I don't think you'll find many cities that's gonna bring 40 of their leaders into the room. I just need your attention real quick. And we wanna do this more often, right? It takes a lot. Trust me, it takes a lot to pull each of these people away from their desk. But, we wanna definitely make sure that we're here to talk to you and hear you. And we really want you to be able to ask us the hard questions. I'm surprised no one asked me, why do I steal? Why am I stealing money and stuff like that, right? Because that's the type of stuff that's out there, that I should be in jail, that I'm going to jail, that I'm stealing money, that, like these are the things that we have to deal with all the time. And so to be able to talk to you directly and not just through rumors and innuendos is very, very important. We're not afraid to answer questions. It may not always be the answers that you want, but I'd always tell you a hard truth rather than a soft lie, right? Because a soft lie is easy to put out there, but it's not going to get us anywhere. So thank y'all for taking out the time for coming and being here and answering the questions. And let's make sure that we do this more often and even in smaller, intimate things. If you have a group of you who want, like, are all of these young people enrolled in this civics program, Commissioner Director? Okay, so if those of you in this room who are really interested in understanding how government works and you want to be a part of it, then break up in groups. Say, I want to be part of the youth public safety group so we can talk about public safety. I want to be a part of the youth economic development group so we can talk about how to bring more money to Mount Vernon. I want to be a part of the human services group so we could talk about youth, seniors, recreation, veterans, things of that nature. Like, think about the areas that you're really passionate about, and then y'all come together, and then we can have smaller meetings where we're able to talk about the things that you're most passionate about, as opposed to 22 different departments in the city, if that makes sense, right? Because we want to, if we have you, we want to make good use of your time and for you to get the information and the input and the empowerment that you're seeking. So thank you.
Thank you. So now you say your voices, your concerns, and your solutions. This is not just a one-time conversation. It's the beginning of an ongoing dialogue. We are committed to holding ourselves and our leaders accountable. We'll be reviewing everything we heard tonight and taking action where we can. And to keep this momentum going, we're planning another youth town hall next year to follow up on the issues we discussed today. So before y'all go, check your inboxes because we'll be sending out a survey to gather any feedback you guys may have. Your input will help us improve and ensure that future town halls are even better. Now, the moment that everybody who spoke has been waiting for, the raffle.